like to talk to you guys about one of my favorite films, and it is very difficult for me to choose like one favorite film. So I've decided to split this up into categories since I've got at least 4 Wednesdays of this month. So this week, this movie time, I'm going to be talking about my favorite animated film, which was even more difficult for me to narrow down because there's a lot of them. But one of the ones I think that I know the best is Emperor's New Groove. And I know you're gonna think I'm crazy, but I think this is one of the best movies ever made, honestly. And I might be a little bit biased because it, of course, has the wonderful voice cast of David Spade and John Goodman and that other lady from Just Shoot Me, whose name I don't remember. I'll put her picture up there so that you guys can see her and you'll know who I'm talking about. But they are just brilliant comedians. The first thing I was really familiar with John Goodman from was the original Roseanne show, and that show was like iconic, and it was revolutionary at the time because it showed like real family life and real dysfunction, which was kind of unusual back in the day. Not so much anymore. But anyway, and it was so popular they're even bringing it back for like a little victory lap, and it's all the original cast. I haven't watched the new episodes, but I'm excited about that. And then David Spade, of course, plays Cusco in the movie, and he's just hysterical. If you've ever seen Tommy Boy, oh my god, that is like peak, absolute peak David Spade. Anyway, I'm gushing. So one of the I have forgotten like one of my favorite actresses who is in this film is Eartha Kitt, of all people. Yeah, Catwoman. I know, crazy. Eartha Kitt plays the voice of Yzma, who is one of the most amazing villains. And Patrick Warburton is Kronk. Oh my god, there's so many great comedians as actors, voice actors in this film. I'm in love. Anyway, on to the plot. If you're unfamiliar with this film, this was I want to say Disney film. Let me double check. Heck yes, I was totally right. This is a Walt Disney film that came out in 2000, and it's set in a sort of Aztec Mayan culture. It's never really terribly specific, but definitely something ancient Central American type of location. And the main character is this guy named Cusco, and he is an emperor, obviously, name of the title, or the title of the movie, The Emperor's New Groove. And spoiler alert in case you've never seen this movie, but you should totally see this movie. So spoiler alert for the rest of this episode. Go watch the movie first and then come watch this. So Cusco, who is the emperor, is basically a young and selfish jerk who, takes control of the country and doesn't give any credit to anyone else. He's basically an a-hole. And so his advisor, this lady named Yzma, she is one of the greatest character designs. Oh my god, she's hideous and charming and beautiful at the same time, and I love her. She, of course, gets angry at Cusco whenever he fires her, and so she goes to her secret lab and cooks up a concoction which is intended to kill him. But of course, her bumbling assistant Kronk ends up messing up the potion, and instead of killing him, they give him something that turns him into a llama. And now while all this is going on, there is a side story with a character named Pacha, and Pacha is voiced by John Goodman, and Pacha is brought to the castle, brought to the palace, in order to give advice to the emperor. And as it turns out, this advice is where is the best sunlight in his hometown, because Cusco intends to destroy Pacha's hometown in order to create a resort for himself. And so, of course, Pacha is very upset about this, and he has to travel all the way back to his village and tell them what the emperor is planning to do, which is terrible. And so, in a strange whoopsie-doopsie turn of events, Pacha and the llama version of Cusco end up together, and they have this love-hate relationship trying to get Cusco back to the palace. And there's always this mistrust between the two of them. Is Cusco going to keep his word and not build the resort if Pacha can get him back to the palace, or is he going to double cross him? And so there's multiple chances where they could double cross each other and leave each other to die, basically. But of course, good things prevail. Happy ending for everyone, which is just awesome. But the thing that makes this movie absolutely hysterical is all of the quotable lines. It is the most quotable movie, I swear to God. There's a section where Kronk and Yzma are entering the secret lab, and there are two levers. One lever, of course, opens up the entrance to the secret lab, which is like a roller coaster, which is pretty lit. And then the other one opens up a trapdoor to alligators or crocodiles or something. And so as she goes up to the entrance, she goes, pull the lever, Kronk, and he pulls the lever, and she ends up falling into the pit of the alligators or crocodiles, and she goes, wrong lever! And then as she comes back around to the scene, of course she survives because it's a cartoon, she slaps this crocodile in the face, and she goes, why do we even have that lever? And it's excellent. There's also a section where the characters go to a diner, yeah, I know, right? A 50s style diner in the middle of this kind of Aztec Mayan-y world, and there's this section where Kronk accidentally becomes a waitress for them, and he has to list off this huge string of orders that were given to him, but he speaks in like diner speak. Oh, and it is absolutely beautiful. There's another section where Cusco and Pacha end up wrapped around and tied to this log that is like plummeting down a river, and they realize that, you know, they're in pretty bad shape. But then there's this moment where they realize they're about to go over a waterfall. So Pacha says, oh no. And then Cusco says, don't tell me. We're about to go over a huge waterfall. Yep. Sharp rocks at the bottom? Most likely. Bring it on. And as they go over, he yells out, booyah! So of course this movie is about the life journey of, you know, these two characters, mostly in their transformation. Yzma doesn't really ever change. She kind of stays this consistent, manipulative, power-hungry woman the entire movie. Cusco, on the other hand, learns to care about others. At the end of the film, he becomes friends with Pacha and his family, and, you know, is able to interact with the citizens on a more, you know, even playing field instead of lording himself over them. Pacha, on the other hand, learns to, I guess, deal with Cusco and becomes friends with him in the end, which is great because originally they absolutely hate each other. And then, of course, Kronk grows a conscience. One of the great repeating jokes in the film is that he has the little shoulder angel and shoulder devil, and oh my god, it's so funny because of course he voices all three, himself and the two little figures, and the little devil character is always making fun of the little angel character, and it is adorable. Detractions from the film. I know that there's lots of criticism about like appropriating Aztec culture or Mayan culture. I think it's Mayan. Anyway, appropriating that culture and not really representing it properly. And Disney is well known for this. If you ever watch Mulan, there you go. Or Pocahontas or Moana or any of those. They kind of just swept in there and just took the pieces of the culture they wanted and didn't really show a realistic view of any of that. But I don't think that's the film they were trying to make, you know, so they had to set it somewhere, and this just happened to be a good place to set it, especially because they have llamas in Central America. Anyway, overall, excellent film. I highly recommend it to anyone. It is absolutely hysterical. I quote it all the time. And now I will also be introducing my rating scale. So out of 10 Scrabble tiles, I give this movie a solid, like, 7. It is not the masterpiece of our age, but it is a film that has stuck with me since I was a child, and I find it extremely hilarious and quotable, and I can watch it literally over and over and over again and not get sick and tired of it. It is absolutely lovely. So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. Thanks for listening to my review, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. And so she takes 2 pieces of broccoli and starts banging them together, you know, and going, hit him on the head. And so Kronk sits there and he goes, you want more broccoli? He holds up this tray of broccoli.